That'll be that funny. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I thought this was a celebration. Let's start that again. Good evening, everybody. That's much better. My name is Tim Campbell. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk at your launch this evening. I think it's interesting hearing the young people speak on the stage because you've told us you're young, so I have to use that title. I'm feeling honoured by the second, and the more I speak through this National Apprenticeship Week, that the fundamental difference that the programme has made, not just Tech Up Nation, which I think is fantastic, thank you very much for Anthony and your team for supporting, but I actually think the real difference is in the change that has been made around the conversation around apprenticeships. Having walked along the street from the bus at the top of the road using my lovely Oyster card, I was transfixed by the amount of changes that's happened along this road alone. We talked about 7 years launching Bright Ideas Trust here, which we've gone on now to invest over £1.5 million in young start-up businesses. Some of them have been apprentices or have come off the programme and decided to start their own endeavours. I'm looking along some of these hipster streets. I can't really say that anymore because I've got a beard and I'm in that hipster gang. I hope I passed the apprentices test with the beard thing. Yeah. I'm coming back for the test in a second. But seeing the changes along the street and some of the mad, ludicrous prices that they're charging for some of the articles in there, it strikes me how much the conversation has also changed around vocational education. I remember growing up in East London. Any Stratford residents here? No, billionaire makes me. One, thank you for being proud. Everyone should be proud. We've got the Olympics now, we've done a lot, more changes happened. But I remember growing up in East London being brought up by a very strong Jamaican disciplinarian of a mother. For those who don't understand the power of a Jamaican disciplinarian, some of you are nodding already. There were times I couldn't sit down for about 3 or 4 weeks because of the discipline she inflicted. Please don't try and get her arrested, it's okay. I run the marathon for the NSPCC now, it's okay, right? It's all good. But my mum had to have that kind of mentality with us growing up because she was adamant that we weren't going to become statistics. Because growing up in a time, and you're talking about the early 80s when there was a recession going on and people remember double-digit numbers which weren't positive around how much they owed in the bank, etc. And my mum was adamant that for us to be successful and to climb that Alan Milburn social mobility ladder that is so talked about now, we had to go to university. And the reason why she was adamant that was the path we were going to take, because she didn't get the opportunity to go to school. Not because she was stupid and she was unintelligent. My mum was a very successful entrepreneur. She didn't know that she was an entrepreneur. She never called herself an entrepreneur. She only ever talked about making ends meet. But that was entrepreneurial, believe me, some of the things that she had to do in order to make sure that her 3 children were not going to be statistics. So my mum's pathway for us, which was set out in stone, which you could not argue with, I'm glad that we have the Olympics in our back garden because my mum could throw a slipper around the corner and hit me in the ear without even looking. She should have had an Olympic discipline for this thing. She wasn't that bad, I must say. Please don't think this is But she was clear about how we were going to be successful. And I remember going to university, hearing these words in my ear about how I was going to be successful, and to get what she called the passport for success, which was my degree qualification. And when I passed out from Middlesex University with my 2-1 qualification, and I bought the piece of paper after my graduation, she took it and she didn't frame it like everybody else. She faxed it to everybody in Jamaica. Being the first Campbell to have the degree, she was very, very happy. But I stood there slightly bemused after this fantastic accolade because I didn't know where this passport was supposed to take me. Because I aspired so hard to fulfill the ambition of my mother, which was to get to the end point of getting this degree qualification, getting the letters after my name, having the thing where I was the first Campbell to go through, but I didn't know what to do. I had no clue what I was supposed to do once I'd reached that point. And actually now, I'm really glad that we've changed the conversation where we no longer have this hierarchical triangle where letters after your name and the pure academic pursuit is at the top. And at the bottom, languishing down there for individuals who are seen as feckless, who may not be able to make it, and could only ever aspire to have some form of vocational direction. At the bottom of that triangle, to a position now where we're standing around with phenomenal organisations like the likes of Optimity, Tech City, thank you for your support, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, who were also key investors in Bright Ideas Trust at the very beginning, so we really applaud what they've done in the community. Where we're now able to have a conversation where there isn't this triangle, there are different pathways which have equal value, where individuals have a choice around the direction that they take and they are celebrated in order to do that. I think that's phenomenal in terms of a transition because assuming that everybody was only ever going to fit through that sausage machine that my mum forced all of us through. And I love her to death because it paid benefits for us, but it may not have worked for every single person. Changing the conversation where we're no longer talking about 50% targets to where we're now talking about what works for individuals, I think is an incredible position for us to be in. But we have to do much more now around articulating that to the next generation who are coming through, who still, in my humble opinion, don't receive the best careers guidance around telling them about the vast array of opportunities that are available if you decide to put and invest in your own career by taking a very structured and very targeted framework approach that is given to you via an apprenticeship program. We have tons of employers like the opportunities of the world who are desperate for talent, as you clearly articulated through your video. But what we don't have, I don't think, is a clear articulation, particularly from our schools, and I'm not berating teachers because I think they're under enough pressure already, about how they can find an opportunity that is best suited for where their passions lie and where their skills are. We have enough ambassadors, I think, in this room alone. Who's an apprentice in this room? Put your hand up. I think we should have filled this room with apprentices. When we do the annual renewal of this, we should fill this room with apprentices, as well as the employers and the ones who have come for the free drink. I haven't had my drink yet because I lost my token, but I'm coming back now. You know, I'm a legitimate speaker. When I asked for my drink, they looked at me like I was a criminal, but I'm coming back. So I think what we have to do now is make sure that we, in addition to the pledges that are so important around more employers that are going to follow the lead of the activities of the world, we have to do much more around what Jason Holt and his team. Where's Jason? Is he here? There's Jason. Congratulations on the CV, by the way. Great letters to have after your name. I've got to raise my game now. I've only got an M, so I've got to do some more work. But the whole point is that Jason and his team were really advocating what we can do around celebrating small businesses getting involved in the apprenticeship conversation as well. Because it's great that we've got the Googles and we have the IBMs and we have the PwCs and other additional trailblazers which are contributing to the 850,000 apprenticeship starts that we had in the last academic year. Phenomenal statistics. We have over 1,000 trailblazing organisations that are standing up and saying, we champion apprenticeships. And rightly so. When you talk about individuals who go through an apprenticeship program who are more productive, who are likely to stay longer, reducing your attrition rates in your businesses, why would you not have a conversation with an apprentice? You saw the 3 young men on this stage, the 4 young men, if I'm allowed to call you young. Yes, okay, you like young men, okay, fine. The 4 young men who are great ambassadors talking about what it done to transform their lives. I heard, I would not do anything different. You want those kind of employees within your business. The ones who believe that you have invested and given them the start to create a career for themselves through a program which unfortunately at one time was seen as for individuals who couldn't make it through to an academic institution. Thankfully, in addition to the change that's happening and around us now, we have now returned, I think, rightly so, to when an apprenticeship was seen as a gold standard. It was seen as a true investment from somebody who knew their skill and their business inside out, who was going to take the opportunity to invest into somebody else and give them the opportunity to create their pathway. That's where we are now, with the help of the Jasons of the world, with the help of the Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and the Optimities, the ambassadors of the UK. See, I can get them all in one go without breathing, you see that? But the reality is that we need more. It's not the end of the conversation, and National Apprenticeship Week is not a point, I don't think, where we should all stand around just patting ourselves on our back. When you use the hashtag NAW2015, which I'm hoping you're all going to do with your phone after today's session, we should be asking where are the other employers who are going to stand up and be counted for supporting the next generation of talent in this country. UK PLC need more and more talented individuals if we're really going to take advantage of the global opportunities. Everybody flocks to this country because how easy it is to start a business, the love of our judiciary system, and the fact that there are a wealth of opportunities right here. But what we have to make sure is that we have the skilled workforces to take advantage of those opportunities as well. And we're only going to do that if we invest into individuals with the skills that were talked about by the Commissioner early on. What I want you to all do is realise that there's no such thing as a free drink or a free lunch or whatever it might be. We've invited you here under slightly a bit of a lie. Because what we want you actually to do is in return for that free drink that you're all holding so lovingly in your hand, or about to before your hand, those lovely yellow tokens which I still haven't got any of, is that we want you to go out and be advocates of a program which is transforming people's lives. Let's not talk about people who couldn't make it anywhere. We're talking about people who want to make it to the very top. You have the opportunity to invest in the employee who is able to do that. We're not talking about people who are lost, who can't do anything anymore. And I'm really proud, as part of the mayoral team, to be here on Boris's behalf. Apologies he couldn't be here on this evening, and he would have loved to have been so. To say that we are incredibly proud that we now have 2.1 million apprentices across the country. When we started the programme here at the Mayor's office, we were taking on approximately 10,000 apprentices in every single month. We're now up to a 40-odd thousand, which is fantastic. So that's brilliant where we are, but there's so much more to do. And stealing your beautiful term, it is limitless what we can actually do. What I'd love you to do is celebrate this evening, but make sure you mingle around. Next time you come, you have to bring an apprentice with you. You have to bring an apprentice or a young person who could actually hear about the opportunities that are available to them via Tech City and the Tech Hub Nation programme. Let's leave on one notion. Let's not think that technology is only about people who wear very funny glasses or lock themselves in a basement somewhere, or it's only about coding. It's not. It's about so much more. Everything in your life today is touched by technology in one way, shape or form. So if it's a skill that you're going to invest in, and as a gambling man, I'm not, I go to church, hey ho, it's a bet that I'd like to place. If you're going to put your money anywhere, let's invest in technology and making sure our young people understand the benefits and the careers that come as a result. Thank you very much for listening.